kill you.
And welcome everybody to the Mandalorian massacre on Wednesday Wars, right? That's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
Wednesday Wacky War Day. So Miss Moneypenny first in the chat. Captain Fandom Nerd, welcome. Some really smart guy from Canada is here. Bird Prey 5, Socks Bulletin, some idiot from Canada is also here. And Danny, the Dork Knight, is here. Better late than never. And Thomas Potts is here. Gorilla's Random Thoughts is also here. Good to see you, Gorilla. And so can't hear you, Danny. Your mute. Your mic's not on. You can try it again.
Okay. I was basically saying we also got Socks Bulletin on my side of the chat.
Yeah, I said Socks.
Oh, you did? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, I see both sides on I'm looking in StreamYard. I'm not looking on YouTube.
Excellent.
Yes, I accidentally impersonated you, Danny. I saw Socks say hi, and then I used the reply to all, and I switched it to Dork Knight, but it's actually literally it replies as you. I thought it was just going to the Dork Knight channel, but I didn't really think that through.
That's cool.
Yeah. If you reply in StreamYard, it replies as Dork Knight and me. So you got to be careful of that. And Alex Moore just joined us. How you doing, Alex? So, before we get started, just how are you guys doing this week? Haven't talked to you in a few days.
Well, I'm doing much better now that I have a phone again. I got the new the Pixel 7.
Oh, so you made that mistake. Okay.
Oh, whatever. I'm a loyalist, man. I've been using the Pixel since the first one came out. I love it.
Right.
I had the Pixel 1, the Pixel 3, the Pixel 5, and now the Pixel 7. I seem to always skip one for some reason, but
yeah.
Anywho. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll answer my text now.
Well, you know what's weird is it restored everything from the cloud, but my text messages, I have like a 1 month gap. So like for some reason, February 21st, like any text message.
So you don't have all my Danny. Where are you, Danny? What's going on, Danny? Danny, we need thumbnail. Danny.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just deleted.
Yeah, maybe I was a little bummed by that.
Maybe your phone troubles had started further back than you thought. That's all.
Maybe. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
but
maybe you
should
should
get a phone. It's scary how you know what's really actually for a side moment or for a side note on this thing with the phone. We have iPhone, Google Pixel, and Samsung. There is no agreement on this. This is not a love triangle. This is a triangle of death.
No. I will say this. Look, as a person who worked for Verizon, I had a Samsung phone for a long time. The only reason I got an iPhone was because one of the people on my account wanted an iPhone, and we were doing a buy one get one free deal. So I figured, hey, I can get a free iPhone because they're buying one. And so I went ahead and did it and tried it out. So that's the only reason I have an iPhone. I'm not a loyalist to any particular brand because I know full well what the hardware is in these things. And they're pretty much all made by the same slave labor camps in China. And to be honest, they're very similar as far as hardware architecture and all that. It's which one do you like better is really what's going to matter.
Yeah, for me, it's,
Yeah. Do you like the Google architecture? Do you like the Samsung architecture? Do you like the Apple architecture? If you're more comfortable with that one, use that one. Because they're all good phones. I mean, I make fun of Danny, but honestly, those three phones are the top manufacturers by that's like 90+% of the market right there. Those three phones.
Did we say hi to Alex and Trustin already?
I did say hi to Alex, not Trustin. Hey, Trustin, how you doing?
So I used the iPhone like when it first came out. Like, so I had the iPhone like 3G, I think it was called. And
so the first one that actually had internet.
Yeah. So in that one, and I stayed with the iPhone up until the 5C because I had like a blue one.
Yeah, the
Like
5C was the 5 color. It was because it was
yeah, and
available
I
in
had
color.
the Carolina blue one, and I just got sick and tired of having to jailbreak the phone to do whatever I wanted to do with it, and I don't have to do that with this phone here.
Well,
I can
that's honestly, that's one of the things. Okay, let me tell you this: is that okay? You're right as far as if you're the kind of guy that likes to tinker, get a basic Android phone because Android phones are meant to tinker with.
And that's why I like this
Right.
as opposed to the Samsung, because the Samsung it's based on the
Right.
Android operating system, but it has a bunch of bloatware that I just
No, I get it.
Yeah, and actually
Samsung-
the S23 actually got just shellacked this winter over
Oh,
the
really?
fact that the level of bloat is bigger than it's ever been as far as how much extra space is gobbled up off the internal storage. So
yeah.
The Samsung is kind of, I would say, in between the more like the something like the Pixel and the iPhone, where the iPhone is really meant to be don't mess with it, but it's dummy proof. If you don't dink around with the iPhone, it is pretty much a dummy proof phone. It's not going to break on you. It does what it's supposed to do, and it's very simple to use. But yeah, if you want to tinker with it, forget it.
So I want to show you something that aggravates me, and this is why I stopped becoming an early adopter of things. So I was one of those guys who just had to have the iPad when it first came out. This is the OG original iPad, and basically all it is now is a glorified paperweight because they don't let you update it. None of the apps work with it. It's basically a prop now I could use if I ever made like a home Star Trek movie, and it's really messed up. Like that's something that was literally more powerful than what we used to send a man to the moon. I can't even use anymore. Can't even sell. It's like it's worthless. It's like it has no worth.
You can take
no
pictures
value.
with it, right?
I don't even think I can do that anymore.
So Tom
Anyway.
mad at us because we're not talking about the Mandalorian. So let me. I assume you did not get a slideshow ready since you never told me you did.
No, I wasn't aware that we were going to. I'm only willing to do that with Picard.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So
Mando. Yeah, Mando. I will say this was the most or the least offensive episode of the season.
Offensive. Wow.
I mean, it still ain't good, but it's the best. It's it's the best. That's because of the Apollo 13. It's the Apollo 13 of iPads, Dork Knight. Very, very true. Very, very true. Oh gosh. Hot takes. You guys want to start with yours? I kind of buried the lead.
Well, so your hot take is just it's the least offensive. Is that going to be your whole hot take on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, pretty much. I mean,
it was a good enough episode.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I more like tolerated it. I was happy. I mean, a couple things I was like, okay, that's cool. But then when we get into how that kid was still alive by the time they got to him, made zero sense to me because it was like at least 24 hours, if not more, had gone by. And they just so happened to get there when the dude coughs him up to feed him to his babies. I mean, come on, man. Like, really? Really? I don't know. So anyway, but Bo-Katan's growing on me. That's about it. It's my hot take. There you go. What about you guys?
Well, I finally got a picture to put for this week. And my hot take is that's an awful long walk around the park. Just show us that there's always a bigger fish in the ocean.
Right.
Jeez. I was like, oh, come on.
You didn't like the giant sea monster eating
the crocatoridus, because that was another crocatoridus.
Was that what that was? That's what it looked
exactly
like, right?
what that was. Yeah. Because you could see the back of his shell-ish shape behind his head. But yeah, it was it's one of those ones where it's making a ton more promises to me, but it's not selling me
And it
anything
seemed
within the episode.
it seemed really short too, didn't it? Was it shorter than the other
Well,
ones?
that's
It was
because we
a short
came
one. It was
off of a
total of 32 minutes with credits.
with the credits, and
Yeah,
the credits are like
yeah.
8 minutes.
It was a
yeah,
very short episode.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
it was.
And that's with credits and with the previously on.
Yeah, so like this
So
might have been a 25, 27-minute episode in actual.
It was
know.
basically half the runtime of last week's episode.
right.
Yeah, which
But it also was very tightly paced. So that there's a trade-off there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather have a 30-minute tightly paced episode like this or an hour-long episode that felt like bloat like last week?
Oh, last week's was almost torture. Like you remember, I called you. I was like, do I have to keep watching this?
I didn't hate last week's episode, but I would take this one again if I had to.
Yeah.
Like this one felt more like Star Wars to me.
Maybe that's because they showed some stuff from Order 66. That was kind of interesting. So we do know that the kid was present on Coruscant.
Well, we
for Order
saw
66.
a very brief flashback from Coruscant before.
Yeah, but this was a good.
This was
a
the
good
first real in-depth one.
Yeah, and I don't know who that Jedi was, but I want that
He was
guy's
cool.
action figure.
Yeah.
For a half a split second, I thought it was Mace Windu.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
No, the first thing you see is the green lightsaber, so it was just like you knew
Yeah.
it wasn't Mace.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see a bald black dude, and you're like, is it? No.
Oh, you see,
All right,
the comments made by Salty Trekker are his and his alone, and do not reflect the rest of the panel. But yes, sir,
it's
that
not
is racist.
racist.
You're basically saying all black people look alike.
Description of the guy.
Just for the record, I knew right away it was not Mace Windu. I just want to throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
What's your hot take, Mike?
I actually had a lot of fun with this episode. I really, my only real complaint about this episode was too dang short. But from beginning to end, I mean, there's not a part of this episode that I could really complain about. I like that we got into Mandalorian lore. I like I was surprised when I saw it was directed by Carl Weathers. Stan.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
I like the scenes with Grogu and the armorer. I like the stuff with the flashbacks with Grogu. I like the rescue sequence. The funny thing is, I immediately thought about the Phantom Menace when it was Din, not Bo-Katan, that ended up rescuing the kid. When the kid fell. I was expecting it to be Bo-Katan to catch the kid, but it was Din. So you don't have to raise your hand.
I'm trying to be respectful because I don't want to talk over you, but why the hell do we have cheese for the background? Can you come up with like stars or something?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Star Warsy.
I didn't. I put the wrong background. That's my bad. I was in a hurry.
I was like, damn, like now I'm hungry. I wasn't even hungry. Now I'm hungry. It's like you're killing me. Bro.
There it is.
There we go. Or like the warp. We ought to do that. Like
weird.
The Millennium Falcon.
Come up.
Yeah, it's there.
You can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, for me, it's just black.
Hey, look at that! You got a super chat.
Oh, cool. Thank you. SVS Guru 2000 with €5 says, I thought this episode was clumsy and a colossal waste of time, a clear step down from last week's. Really? I really couldn't disagree more. I was one of the few people that liked last week's episode, but I did enjoy this week's episode more.
I would love to get a little
and
bit
I actually
more.
kind of liked that this week's episode had a callback to last week's episode, and that we saw that mountaintop in this week's episode.
I did. I noticed that as well. I did like that, but I I'm curious, SVS Guru, if you can expand on that. You don't have to do a super chat to expand on it.
But you could if you wanted to.
You know, obviously, I mean, doesn't help me any, but sure.
Yes. In fact, you
fine.
could do several. I would.
But because last week's episode, like, damn near broke me, and I didn't want to keep in, and it also kind of seems pointless because a guy I thought was already dead, they brought back for a very long, boring episode just to basically kill him, even though they don't really kill him, but they render him basically lobotomize him.
Yeah, his brain is gone.
You know, so it's like, you know, at least this one, like you said, the pacing
if we
was
see him again, it'll
better.
be Dr. McCoy with a 6-button remote controlling him.
Something, you know.
Walking down the hallway, bumping into doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't think that this one, the last week's felt way more clumsy to me. This one, like you said, it seemed tighter. You know what I mean? And even though there were some choices, like decisions that were made that I didn't agree with or thought made sense, there were scenes in it that. Are we going to do the frame by frame thing, or are we just going to?
Yeah. I got it queued up for. When we
So, there were, like, I really like the armorer scene, the two in particular with Grogu and Bo-Katan,
right.
and how Bo-Katan finally tells somebody, "Hey, man, I saw this mythosaur thing," and you can tell it's changed her.
Right.
You know, she's asking for it, like, "How do I eat with my helmet on?" He's like, "You don't." He just goes somewhere nobody can see you.
Right. Just say it, Daddy. Right.
What were you right about? It's so hard.
There's
really so much
that it really did change her.
Yes, you were. Oh, yes, you were right. I thought she was going to break bad, and she was breaking good, apparently. But
she's certainly breaking Mandalorian into it hard.
Yeah, she even says this is the way. Yeah, she even says this is the way. I think that's the first time we hear her say that. And
second time she said it kind of offhand to Mando on.
Well, I think this is the first time she meant it. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, but do you think? I don't know if the armorer actually believed her or not. What did you guys think about that? Or you want to talk about when we get there? I guess, you know.
When we do the frame by frame, I think, because that's
but yeah, roboting.
I'm sorry. Thomas did donate $4.20. The Danny special, as we call it.
Super chat. Oh, I just got that 420. You're so funny. You're roboting, by the way, pal.
Sorry. Yeah, that's because I had to bring up the OBS.
We were looking. I got to tell you, it's funny though, Danny. That we were looking at some stuff on Saturday for rather than using Streamlad's donation system, and the defaults on Stream Elements are all smarmy things. So 333, 420. 1337 and 690.
1330. That's elite. 1337. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was all just goofy, you know, smarm from the internet stuff.
And the only reason I know that is I used to have a group. I was the Charlie for, and they were my angels, and it was called the Elite Ladies. And because I had this idea of, like, you know, Vegas has a lot of conventions, and I'm sure you guys maybe haven't, but the term booth babe, you know, like, do you know what a booth babe is?
Yeah. I know
okay.
Booth babe.
So I was doing a bunch of
I'm a Christian, I'm not dead.
Okay. Well, I was doing a bunch of viewing parties for, like, The Walking Dead, and I was doing a lot of conventions and doing a lot more like pressy type things. And I was talking to my friend Natalie at the time. This was, like 11 years ago. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a nerdy version of Booth Babes? And then I just planted that seed, and she kind of took off with it. And it was a good 5-6 years of fun where I was like the Charlie to their angels and stuff. But then it all imploded because, you know, you get a bunch of hot nerdy chicks.
In a booth.
No, you get a bunch of hot nerdy chicks together. Egos get involved. They get catty. Everybody starts sleeping with everybody's boyfriends and crap. So I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Don't need that in your life.
Anyway, back to the actual super chat.
Sorry.
Thomas, Ignored says they should have taken the Mandalorian section from last week into this episode. So you're saying like last week could have just been the Dr. Pershing stuff, and then this week could have been that last week's Mandalorian stuff and this.
Dude, if you did that, I would have not
Last week
finished.
would not have been a Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, it wasn't. Mando's in it like 6 minutes, you know, and it's.
Well, and the other problem, I was thinking about this because I was reasonably content with the episode. Like it was a good enough episode for me today. What would you have done? But it would have messed up the pacing of everything because the previous episode was talking about converts. So it's fine dealing with Dr. Pershing. The issue is down to pacing. It's not really an issue that he was there. It was the fact that they threw 40 minutes of Pershing and secret agent lady or Lieutenant Biscuits, as the salty guys call it.
Yeah.
40 minutes of that right in the middle of what was otherwise working out to be a pretty entertaining episode.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think the Pershing story should have been cut down about in half from what it was, and then you could have doubled what we had of the Bo-Katan stuff from last week.
How did Lieutenant Biscuits survive? I could have swore she was on a ship that got destroyed, right?
She was on the she was on the Arkaten's light cruiser that
right. They killed a lot of people, but they didn't
Gideon
kill everybody.
No, she wasn't on the bridge. I talked about this
okay.
last week. I double checked the episode.
Okay.
And she wasn't on the bridge when they stormed the bridge at the end of season 2. So that's how they were able to reach back into that season and pull her out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure they carefully looked over the cast and said, okay, who did not confirm die?
Yeah, who didn't die on screen?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's very true, Thomas. Like you didn't remember her, nobody remembered her because I even checked
Thomas remembers everybody.
She had no lines basically to speak.
Yeah,
of.
well, I know this is going to sound bad, but I don't mean for it to. But I'm an asshole, so it comes out that way. The reason I remembered her is because
careful.
No, I'm.
Well, last time you said some really bad things.
It's harmless. Okay. I just remember thinking, oh wow, she kind of looks like Rachel Maddow in space. And so, see, that wasn't that bad. But like, that's why I was like, that's the only reason I recognized her because I was.
I'll let that one pass.
Rachel Maddow
the stuff you said last week, man, you went overboard, and I hope you realize how overboard you went.
I am working very hard on being better.
Okay.
There are craftier ways to say some of those things and still have the same effect. That's for sure.
Yeah. And Rachel Maddow in space is definitely one of those craftier ways. So that's good. But yeah, so Rachel Maddow in space, pulling her out is fine, since you can confirm that she was not killed on screen. And so that's fine. But I would cut that down a bit, or like do some of the setup in prior episodes in little 5-minute vignettes, and then have the big, the big stuff happen in this episode, but cut it down to like 20 minutes instead of
Substance
40.
D. I wish I could pull up these she's a man, baby. And I do want to thank you, SVS Guru, because he took the time to expand on that for us. And I cannot disagree with any of your points, sir. I mean, we'll get into that. Yeah, I really can.
Well, we'll get to the bird thing. Yeah, and I was going to say something like that too, but as far as this episode, I think was solid if short, and that's really my hot take on it.
Maybe we're just getting just got to Bible study at church. Be back later. Hey, enjoy God, Mom. I appreciate you
enjoy
God or whatever.
No, that's perfect. I love it. That's awesome. No, it really is. It's good.
So what I was going to say though is maybe we're all getting Star Wars fatigue, and much like my ex-wife, Star Wars is better enjoyed in small bursts.
No, you know what? I disagree. I'm not having Star Wars fatigue.
I don't know.
You are having.
I almost did last. So my mom and I were, I go for a walk every day, and she called me and we talked for like good 30, 45 minutes while I was walking, and she's all like talking to me about how she's got all this Star Wars to watch, and it sounds like homework. And it's all these animated things. She's like, because I guess Disney Plus has a. She was explaining to me on Disney Plus. It like was saying like watch how to watch everything in order. Combining it.
They actually have a specific all the Star Wars in chronological order.
Yes, that's what she was. That's what she was talking about.
The MCU, by the way,
it just sounds so exhausting when she was like going over like all these shows I never even heard of. Like I can't remember. Like apparently there's a new one out called like it was like not Rivals or
Rebels.
No, not Rebels. It's like a newer one.
There's it's post Battle of Endor. And it's a very different cartoon style. I don't remember the name of it right now.
So she was explaining that to me. I'm just like, look, man, I don't know. Just give me good Star Wars and
I think
live
Mandalorian
action
is good Star Wars. So now, to me, I look at it this way: is that as far as like the animated shows like Clone Wars and Rebels, if you enjoy it, watch it. If you don't enjoy it, don't watch it. That's simple. Oh, Resistance.
Thank you, Socks. Resistance. Yeah.
You know, and so I don't think you have to watch those shows to enjoy things like Mandalorian, but it can help you fill in some of the backstory and some of the lore if you care about that stuff.
Well, it was also like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, or the other thing that what happens is if you have been watching everything the whole way through, even if you don't rewatch it a bunch of times, when you do start encountering things like we talked about this, I think on episode 1 of this season of Mandalorian, where when I saw the city, I'm like, oh man, this is huge. So flashbacks.
It rewards. I get it. Like if you've been watching it, like, and I have a lot of friends who have, been watching all of these animated shows for the entire time they've been out. And I do think it's cool when they like reward fans of that stuff, but I don't think I should have to have had, I don't think I should have had to see that for me to enjoy.
No.
And if it gets into that territory, that's where it's like, dude, just redo it in a flashback, a live action flashback or something. Like
so far I think they've actually done a pretty decent job with this.
This series, Ariel, takes place after Jedi and way before Force Awakens. So it's
this is like
4 or 5 years after Jedi, I think.
5, 8, something like that. Yeah.
It gets confusing because apparently there was like a 2 year.
Luke still looks like Luke from Jedi.
Yeah, he still looks like Luke from Jedi, but supposedly Grogu was with Luke for 2 years. I read somewhere, which doesn't make sense to me.
There's some claim. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but there doesn't really seem to be any on-screen evidence of that.
Yeah.
But
all right,
again,
so this was a weird way to open.
Then again, at the same time, it seems like Luke was with Yoda for about that long, and it didn't feel that way in Empire Strikes Back. So maybe so.
Stan Lee with the hot take.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why they trained to the bay where the giant monsters send to attack. Well, that was the first thing I was going to say. So we open up the episode with them still hanging out on the water where all the giant monsters live.
And some weird, goofy, like, I don't know. None of this kind of really made sense to me. What are they shooting at?
They're practice shooting.
I get that they're like, they're little groups of like, these guys are sparring, these guys are fighting, the kids are doing their little whatever. It just, I don't know, it just was weird to me. But whatever.
Mandalorians live by the creed, and they worship they're warriors. These are the Klingons of the Star Wars universe, and they are, they are the ultimate warriors. Except unlike Klingons,
that's a wrestler, the Ultimate Warrior.
Except unlike the Klingons, they actually wear armor, and unlike stormtroopers, their armor actually works. And and they and also their weapons actually work. And we see, that they carry quite an interesting variety of weapons. And they all specialize in different things, which I think is interesting. Yeah, Beskar versus plastic. You're right, Stan.
Pretty much.
So the Mandalorians and their code, unlike the Klingons, one thing I got to give the writers, a lot of credit is that they created this religion, the creed of the Mandalore, a very interesting and spiritual feel, without it feeling like just a carbon copy of some other religion. And it looks like we got another super chat.
Super chat.
And thank you so much, SVS Guru, with another €5. I'm not an expert, but I think practice shooting is much more effective if you have actual targets to shoot. I would tend to agree.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was saying. That makes sense. They were just like shooting over the water. They weren't really.
Well, yeah, we don't know if they were like pointing at like specific rocks for them to shoot at or something. Maybe there might have been something they were actually aiming at. Because we do know that unlike stormtroopers, these guys know how to shoot. As we've seen what Din has been capable of doing with his weapons throughout the last 2 seasons, and he is definitely a good shot. And other Mandalorians that we've seen whip out their blasters are good shots, as opposed to stormtroopers that can barely hit the broadside of a barn, right?
Right.
And, yeah, he ran out of the CGI budget. Yeah, you're probably right. Because boy, I gotta say their visual effects on this show are top notch. And maybe they couldn't make them look good, so they just said, "Screw it, we're not gonna do it."
Oh, although there is one thing, and I have to ask this way.
Yeah.
Somebody on this panel absolutely has to know where some of this was shot. Oh, come on, Danny. You're disappointing me.
I guess so, man. But
you didn't see all the bleached shoreline from the reservoir?
Oh,
if
what?
you go back through the gully, they shot that in Nevada.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
If you go back and you watched a lot of the flying scenes, and one of the pan-ins just before they actually come into this shot here, you can actually see that bleaching effect from, I can never remember the name of the reservoir, but
are you talking about Lake Mead?
Yeah, the big head pond of Hoover.
Yeah, Lake Mead, which is remarkably low. Really, they shot? Okay, I just assumed it was all CG.
So did I, and today I actually saw. I was like, whoa, wait a minute! All of a sudden, you're going to see like an abandoned car.
That makes sense. It's actually, it's a convenient location.
Yeah. Go back in post and remove all the abandoned cars that were thrown into Lake Mead.
All the dead bodies they've been finding in barrels.
They should have left the cars and used them as targets. But...
Right, there you go. They got shit stuff to blow up.
So yeah, we see a bunch of Mandalorians practicing, and Bo-Katan kind of standing around watching them. And at first I was like, is she just kind of scoffing at them? But then I realized, no, she's actually very intently looking like she's trying to learn from them.
Yeah.
What is their methodology? Why, how are they training their kids? What do they really believe?
Mm-hmm.
How seriously do they take this stuff? And we see a lot of this. Now, did you guys think for a minute Grogu was moving these rocks?
I did.
Yeah.
For a minute. But once one of them stood up, it was like,
little crabs, little rock crabs or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, but yes, so I thought Grogu was moving the rocks.
I did too, man. Everybody else is doing all their practice stuff. I figure, like he's doing the Luke thing. Like, he's trying to.
I was hoping he was going to do some show off, and then the whole ring of rocks was just going to lift up off the ground or something. I was like, nope.
So Din decides that it's time for Grogu to actually take on one of the kids in a combat challenge.
He makes a comment here that makes me wonder, are they going to eventually try to put a helmet on this dude? And if so, are they going to give him room for his giant ears, or how's that going to work?
I don't know if they would
best orc ever.
Yeah. I would love to see the armorer's helmet for Grogu, but I don't think we'll ever see Grogu in a helmet because Grogu would have to speak the actual creed. That's what they said.
This is what I don't understand. Yoda could talk, and so could that other weird chick from oh god, the prequels. You know,
Yaddle. That's the name.
What's her name?
Yaddle.
Yaddle.
Yeah.
So you know,
Probably
why can't the kid talk?
Dad.
Well, why can't the kid talk?
Because he's only 50.
Yeah, they have done a very poor job of explaining how the Yodis actual work.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, because nobody knows. You know, that's the problem. We know that Yoda is, you know, we know their lifespan is somewhere in the order of 1,000 years.
I'll be back. Sorry, I got to take this to work.
Right.
Yeah, so they're like 1,000 years max. They cap out, but yeah.
So in a 1,000-year lifespan, a 50-year before you start speaking isn't all that unreasonable.
No,
you know,
Stanley.
Yoda's still learning how to talk. Well, Yoda is just, you know, maybe Yoda's just kind of not very bright. You know, everybody thinks Yoda's so wise, but maybe Yoda's just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Now that old man Dork Knight's gone, let's have some fun, says Ariel. Yeah, okay. Now everybody can throw it in the super chats so that, you know, we can have a party. Me and Daniel just start, you know, drinking and getting high and stuff. That's what we do when Danny's not around. Just so you know, me and
what?
I overdosed on.
Name.
We were gonna get out of control.
I knew that
we were off. I'll get all sugar drunk on like all the maple syrup I've got sitting here because you know I gotta play up that Canadian angle.
The Canadian thing, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, so he decides that it's time for Grogu to actually start fighting, and look, I love that look. It's like, what? I don't know about this. And so, you know, they were like, okay, what weapon? And the kids, you know, and they were saying Grogu's too small, and I guess Din could vouch for him as his ward, and so they go ahead and the other kid gets to choose the weapon, so he chooses darts, and they strap this little dart gun on his wrist, and I love the fact that what's her name? Now I'm forgetting her name. Shoot, help me out. I'm having Bo-Katan, yeah. She's like, wait, he doesn't even know how to shoot the darts? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. Wait till you see what he can do. Yeah, I was kind of hoping for that too, SBS Guru. I was hoping he was going to like do something crazy, like force choke the kid.
Yeah.
And pick him up in the air and throw him around or something. But yeah, nothing quite so dramatic.
So Socks sent me a thing on Twitter. I want to share it with you guys real quick. Look at this. He's some artist already kind of imagined what it could look like. That's kind of neat.
That might happen, you know, but I would guess that would be the very end of the series. So, you know, I was thinking, you know, since he let the kid choose weapons, what if the kid said barehanded combat? I mean, you know.
Well, then he would have had to force throw the poor kid halfway across the yard.
Yeah, or then maybe we would have seen a force choke or something.
Yeah. I gotta say, from scenes we're gonna see later, even when obviously Grogu's like 29 years younger, it basically looks like he's a lot more aware of what's going on, even though he has a childlike attitude about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's way more aware, and if they ever let him talk, I think he's going to have an awful lot more to say than we expect.
Yeah, as far as what happened during the purge or the
Well, just and even throughout his time being, poked and prodded by Dr. Pershing and everything. So
Yeah.
So Grogu's got his dart gun, and he's like, instant kill. And Grogu's like, huh? What?
yeah.
What are the rules? And he's like, don't worry about it. Okay, instant kill again. It's like, and I like that Din's not even worried about it. He's like, come on, I know what you can do. Just don't be afraid of it. Just show him. And so Grogu's like, okay. And so then he like does a double backflip, jumps over him, and unfortunately skips that and hits him
like pop, pop, pop. Yeah, center mass.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, you win. So now the kid, and I like this. So the kid, after losing, doesn't say a word, because they even talked about this in the creed. It says, if you only speak if you know. And the kid was all braggadocious, and he was saying, I know that I'm going to beat this guy. And then afterwards, when he got his butt handed to him, he just walked away because he realized, he didn't know. And so, but unfortunately, walking away set him up so that the next monster that shows up was like, oh, look, lunch. And so, then the monster flies away with the kid as a snack for its kids. A couple of the Mandos go after him. And they run out of gas because their jetpacks just don't have very much gas in them. How many times in Star Wars are they just going to run out of gas? Maybe someone in Star Wars needs to invent a better gas tank. If hyperfuel is supposed to be so vague, all you Star Wars fans that say that Star Wars ships are going to kick the crap out of Star Trek ships, but a freaking jetpack can't get you more than 3 miles. How good is hyperfuel? Come on. Sorry. Because hyperfuel seems to suck. I'm just saying. So they're like, yeah, I'm out of gas too. So I guess, your kid's going to die. But fortunately, Bo-Katan, follows the dinosaur. And then we get the opening credits. This was probably the longest opening stinger, I think, in the series so far.
It was pretty long, but I absolutely loved that parting shot, though.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 8 minutes in. And to get to the title card. So Bo-Katan comes back, says that she located it. It's on the top of this one place in New Mexico. And they're like, no worries. We'll just park your ship far enough away so it won't startle the monster. And then we'll climb up there and rescue the kid, and everything will be cool. So they go take off, and the armorer says to the kid, wow, cool, that gives us a chance to hang out. So they go inside, and of course Grogu has the cutest little waddle walk you've ever seen.
These puppet makers are just off the charts.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, it's just, I mean, Grogu is probably one of the most amazing practical effects in a TV show ever. And
considering his size, yeah.
Definitely looks better than the CGI Yoda from the prequel.
Yeah.
So then she kind of explains what the meaning of the Forge is to Grogu, which is really just explaining it to us. But this is how you do exposition well. Because Grogu is so young as a Mandalorian, not necessarily, obviously Grogu's old, but not this. Grogu's new to the Mandalorian creed, so Grogu doesn't know this stuff. And so when you're teaching someone, this is a perfect opportunity to give exposition to us. And so when she's explaining to Grogu what the meaning of the Forge is, this is a great way to explain to the audience what the point of the Forge is.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like this scene because it really does explain why the Forge is kind of the heart and soul of the Mandalorian. And also that the Forge has mystical powers. And you notice that Grogu gets flashbacks very much like how Din had flashbacks in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because in season 1, every time she was forging Din's armor, he would get flashbacks of when he lost his parents.
Yeah.
And so now we have Grogu getting flashbacks of when he lost his Jedi family. And there's a look. Like, ooh,
Yeah, and that's like the face, the lines, the eyes, like they've really.
It looks like a person. I mean, that's the crazy thing. It looks like an emotive person.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
they
no problem. You're allowed to come in late. You'll just means you have to leave extra money. But yeah, that is just crazy. And look at that.
Yeah. If they could do this kind of puppeteering for all the alien creatures and avoid the CG where possible, I mean, it would be nice.
Hey, if they could get this kind of reaction out of George Clooney, it'd be nice.
Very funny.
I mean,
he looks so sad. He looks so
all these
sad.
emotional reactions out of this puppet. And honestly, these are better reactions than you get out of a lot of actors, you know.
Yeah.
And so now we get the flashback of the Jedi trying to defend Grogu. And I do find it interesting, and I hope we find out eventually why the Jedi were so hell-bent on defending Grogu specifically.
That would be nice, and hopefully because of the fact that obviously that Jedi piloted Grogu out, we may eventually find that out.
Yeah, hopefully that Jedi's still alive out there somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. You got a super
DK Dan.
chat.
Grogu gets flashbacks the same way because this is the way. Yeah, this is the way.
As a side note, this is the first time we've ever seen clone troopers for real in live action. All the clone troopers in Revenge of the Sith were all CG.
Oh, really?
Well, these clone troopers look much better. I did notice that.
Yeah, they're actually practical effects. It's people in armor in this.
It's amazing what a difference practical effects make, you know.
Yeah.
Well, when you're dealing with people, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't mind CG effects for monsters and a lot of times for settings and stuff and spaceships and stuff. But for people, you need people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is a perfect example. These clone troopers look like people, where the clone troopers in the prequel films look like cartoons.
Yeah.
And sorry, Daniel, I can't let people onto the panel because this is not a panel, like an open panel. This is just the three of us.
But happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. All right, so now not Mace Windu shows up. And as much as I wanted him to be Mace Windu, it is not Mace Windu. And he shows up to rescue Grogu and takes on some more clone troopers. And you can also see, look how shiny that armor is compared to the armor we saw in the other films.
Yeah, well, you can't do that this way, like this organically in CG. Yeah. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Yes, Stanley, the other Black Jedi.
Oh dear.
There's two Black Jedi, Mace and this guy. Yeah, Reggie.
Yeah. They could have given
Reggie
us his
the
name.
Jedi.
Yeah. Reggie Windu.
I gotta go see what his name is. See if they've got it listed.
That'd be hilarious if it actually was Reggie.
Reginald. No, it's going to be some weird Star Wars name.
Yeah.
All right, before you get on to me,
Red J.
I'm blowing my nose off camera. I'm not doing anything nefarious. I'll be right back.
Oh, is that Armin? Wow, that's funny. I didn't even recognize. Yeah, you're right. It does look like him, doesn't it?
Who?
That's the guy that played Jar Jar Binks.
Me's
No
a Jedi
way.
now. Me's a Jedi now. That's cool that's him. But what's his Jedi name?
Darth Jar Jar.
His Jedi name is, it's actually listed right here. It's Kelleran Beck.
All right. I'll take it. And
Jedi
Lancer,
Reggie Beck.
Lancer, we did not forget about the black one that became an Inquisitor, because that was in that terrible abomination called Obi-Wan that I did not even bother to finish watching. So there you go.
I liked, so he needs to go burn.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're outnumbered. I didn't like it that much either.
Yeah. No bueno.
So now they go on the cutest little chase scene ever. I got to tell you, my wife loved this chase scene every time that Grogu like kept opening and closing his little pod. She just loved all that. But it was a cool little chase scene as the other Black Jedi Reggie was trying to get away from the Imperial guys.
I'm actually really, glad that that's who that is, because that poor guy got so much flack
For Jar Jar.
for Jar Jar. He deserved
he kicked off
cool like this.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
He was only in 5 minutes, but man, I loved him. I wanted to see more of this guy.
Yeah, no, totally. Well,
I really do hope he survived so that we could see him.
Possibly see him in the Osaka show or Soka, whatever.
Yeah, or something. I mean, he could even still be alive now. I mean, they just put some old man makeup on him. Or he's black. He don't crack.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Again, the comments made by Salty are his and his alone, and do not represent the rest of the panelists here.
Hey, I have black family. I know. Oh, and Chat GBT tipped $3.33.
Super chat.
Thank you, Chat
GPT.
And Chat GBT says, I highly recommend Obi-Wan series, but it might make Dork Knight cry like a little girl.
You know what made me cry like a little girl? The last episode of Quantum Leap that came out was really got me at the end when you think Ben's gonna die. And it's just like, oh my God. No. And it's like, it got me. You're not watching that show though, are you?
I gotta see if I can watch that on streaming. I gotta dig that up.
I don't know. Do they not have Peacock in Canada? No.
No.
Yeah.
No, they're a communist country.
Mm.
But ChatGPT thinks you should watch Obi-Wan, and since you let ChatGPT think for you, you should watch
GPT, by the way.
Well, no, this is ChatGPT that tipped.
Oh, okay. Well,
and you let it think for you, so you should.
No, I don't. Remember, I told you that I was arguing with it for a good 4 hours.
Yeah, because it was telling you all this nonsense.
You've already lost.
Well,
if you're arguing with a pretend AI, you've lost.
Well, I was just trying to teach the damn thing, and it just didn't want to learn.
It's secretly a troll.
Yeah. That's fine. I went back. Hey, you know what though? I'm glad, because I went back and I watched all 7 episodes that Ro Laren was in, and actually 2 of them you really don't even watch. She's just a glorified extra in 2 of them. And I'm glad that I did, because I hadn't seen him in a long time.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. All right, so he leads the imps into a tunnel. There's the rock, Prudential Life Insurance rock that they fly by.
That's funny. My mom used to work for Prudential.
Did she?
Insurance. Yeah. She worked in their claims. She was one of those people that you talk to that didn't want to pay for your
Screwed
stuff.
you over. Yeah, I know the type.
Yeah.
So the MPs come after him, and but fortunately they have a Naboo cruiser ready to go, and so they make their escape. And Grogu watches Lightspeed, and then we're back to the armorer as she's making a piece of armor. And so she says she's making a rondelle, which is actually a type of shield, but she makes it into kind of a chest plate because it's so big.
Yeah. Well, he's teeny tiny.
Yeah. And it has the mudhorn symbol, which is the symbol of their clan.
Mm-hmm.
And then meanwhile, the gang land, and they decide to camp at the extraordinarily convenient overhang at the bottom.
Again, so this is where I start to have problems with this. And this kid is not dead yet. I mean, come on. Like,
okay, first of all, you do realize this is Star Wars, right?
Yeah. I mean, they killed kids in Revenge of the Sith. So, I mean.
No. It's not that. It's that anything in Star Wars, when you start complaining about convenience, the answer is it's the will of the Force.
Oh.
Well, and there is one thing extra too to toss into this from, behind the camera side of things. Some of the things that are going on in this episode, and because Dave Filoni co-wrote this one with Jon Favreau, I can feel the Dave Filoni style behind how some of these things are set up to happen. Like if you especially if you go back and Mike, you haven't watched any of Rebels yet, but if you watch even just a few episodes of Rebels from say season 2 or 3, it's just instant. It feels the same kind of way. Like it's this type of an adventure. So it's par for the course. And this is where they do that whole play into the kids aspect of it. So it's, yeah.
And look, I don't have as far as the kid being alive, number one, the kid's wearing armor, Mandalorian armor. And we already saw that Mandalorian armor has basic life support when in just the prior episode, that when Din stepped out into a poisonous atmosphere, all he had to do was hit a button on his helmet and he could breathe.
Oh, yeah. Well, even when they went underwater too, to down in the mines.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's nothing that says that the kid being inside the belly of the beast.
Well, that's not my issue, like really, because he was obviously bringing it to feed.
What birds do. They save their food for their kids for when it's feeding time.
All right.
Do you not know that's what birds do?
I can super chat.
And BK Dan with another $2. Thank you so much. Says, I can feel the Filoni in you.
Why?
But that sounds really wrong, actually.
Why?
If this was any other show, it could derail the whole thing for the next 5 minutes.
Dangerous direction, yeah. Can you feel Filoni in you?
I don't know, but my damn cat just seems to have a knack for wanting to face rape me when I'm on a stream. Sorry.
Wow, you really went there, huh?
See, I got cat.
He's being unwillingly abused.
Anywho, so is this where they eat and they tell her, and she's like, hey, how do I eat with this
they're
helmet?
standing at the campfire, and then she's like, okay, so how the heck do you eat? And he explained, and this is another, I actually like this part because another thing, they explain basic creed and code and how the Mandalorians work. And it's like, no, you don't eat in front of other people. The Mandalorians go and eat in solitude. And when we start talking about the Mandalorian creed and the Mandalorian religion, I like this because to me, it adds to the spirituality. You eat alone with God. Basically, that's how they see a mealtime as sacred. And so the only time you take your helmet off is, when you're alone, and the only person you're with when you're alone would be the creator, the Force. And so that's the most intimate time is when your helmet has your face exposed. That's the only time you allow yourself to be vulnerable, is when you're eating.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
we find out here in a little bit that this big dude here apparently is the father of the kid that got taken.
Mhm.
So what are the rules with that? I mean, the kid looked like he was maybe 10, 11, 12 tops. Does he leave his helmet on when he does the dirty with his wife?
He didn't do the dirty. You weren't
how-
listening carefully.
How do they? What do they?
Because
watch
they
these
say
kids?
later the kid is a foundling. So he's his son in the same way that Grogu is Din Djarin's son.
Oh,
Yeah, because they've been basically because
they all are adopted.
okay.
yeah, they've been running around trying to reconstitute everything for the last whatever 20 years.
But yeah, every Mandalorian is adopted. That's the idea.
That cleared that up for me. Thank you.
Because most of the rest of the Mandos have been scattered to the wind. They're all just off being bounty hunters and stuff.
Right. The only Mandalorians that procreate are the ones that were like how Bo-Katan was before she joined.
Gotcha.
So BK thought he heard a noise, but I know there's no noise at the moment. But do you want to take a peek at your other monitor and see if anybody sent anything in?
Actually, yes. Writing AI tipped $1.
Super chat.
Thank you, Writing AI. It says, I'm glad Writers Guild is letting me start writing episodes now. Well, okay. Well, that's good, Writing AI. Yeah. I heard that the Writers Guild is actually was threatening to strike because of the AI movement to write. So fortunately, the Writing AI is still allowed to write. So good for you, AI.
Well, Jango Fett wasn't a real Mandalorian anyway. They already established that.
No, Jango Fett was a real Mandalorian. Boba Fett's not a real Mandalorian.
And he wasn't the part of because he did have his helmet off quite a bit.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is they didn't consider him. Well, the Children of the Watch and Death Watch definitely didn't consider Jango a real Mandalorian,
Right?
But
Bo-Katan would have prior to her conversion here.
Yeah, if he didn't have his head lopped off, then he probably would have been hanging out with Bo-Katan at some point.
Yeah. That name always makes me sad. I named my cat Jango after Jango Fett. And had that cat 14 years and then died in my arms.
You cut its head off.
No.
Well,
I literally tried to give CPR to a cat. That's how traumatic that experience was for me. So look at her taking her helmet off to eat.
Yeah, I was saying to Matthew tonight, I said, if I had to bet real money, I would have lost because last week I didn't think we were going to see
your face again.
See your face again, yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine that if we see them alone. I don't think we're going to see them expose each other again, at least not intentionally.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So then they all get back together again to ascend the mountain.
So Ariel's got a question that I don't know the answer to, but I guarantee Jason knows. Do you see the question there?
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be... Yeah, she's talking about Sabine Wren. So those 2 episodes you probably watched that I linked you.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that had the super colorful painted armor, yeah.
Okay.
So her house was backing the people that were on side with the Imperials, because there was a couple of families that sided with the Imperials during the occupation.
Okay.
And her family had been and then broke away. But there's this huge element. If you guys don't mind a spoiler, the big thing that they drafted in for Sabine is that she was duped into creating a weapon that was specifically intended to be used to help kill off all the Mandalorians.
Well, that's
so they
genocide, but okay.
Yeah, well, because of their obsession with making weapons, they tricked her into it. So then that's what made her, when she realized what was going on, she left, and that's why she became a rebel. So, but that's also why I'm really hoping that even if it's just like a fan service at the end of this season, that they throw her in, because she's going to be a big part of any Ahsoka series.
Wasn't that her sister, Bo-Katan's sister, or no?
No, Bo-Katan's sister was actually the
That wasn't one of the ones
Prime
you had me
Minister.
watch.
That was one of the early episodes of Clone Wars. Bo-Katan's sister was the Prime Minister
I
of
think it was
Mandalore.
Anyway.
Yeah, her sister was part of the royal family, and she's actually the one I told you that Obi-Wan actually had a secret relationship with.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was doing the dirty.
So
Hello there.
He was breaking the rules that he picked on Anakin for.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you
And
know,
that's where Rey should have come from.
look, man, he was just trying to help repopulate the Jedi after Order 66. He didn't really love her. He was just trying to help her conceive, man. Trying to help her conceive.
All right, so the Mandalorians are climbing up, and this is another scene that I really like. I liked all this stuff with the Mandalorians where we got to see Mandalorians doing what Mandalorians do best, right?
All I kept thinking was, how strong is that one MFer with that giant Gatling gun?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Matthew said the same thing. He's like, that guy's got twice the armor as everybody else, and he's got the crazy gear.
And he's twice as heavy as everyone.
And he's got that massive gun. That gun is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't bring anything that'll hurt the foundling. Brings the biggest gun he owns.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's his own kid.
Yeah.
Son. So yeah, they but I know I like this whole sequence because we see this is what Mandalorians are capable of. This is why they're a threat to the Jedi.
I always like a good rock climbing scene,
Yeah.
At least nobody fell.
But not only the rock climbing, but also when, in a minute here, when they're flying around fighting the Velociraptor dino, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
So Din spots the nest, points it out to Bo-Katan, who points it out to Humongo.
Yeah, that guy. Good Lord.
Yeah. And I mean, look at just the armor or the ammo thing on that. I mean, dang. Could you imagine if that thing is full of ammo? That's got to be 500 pounds of ammunition.
Yeah, if it was, yeah.
I wonder, what kind of creature is underneath that mask, or if that's just some jacked human, or if it's actually some kind of.
It couldn't possibly be human.
Yeah, right.
There's no way a human being could carry that much weight.
Yeah.
Well, if he's a Vizsla, then he's a normal Mandalorian. So, but it's going to be interesting if we ever get to see his face.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they look around and they see a heat source, but it turns out that look, it's little babies.
There's some ugly babies.
Huh?
I said there's some ugly babies. Ugh.
They're bird babies. Of course they're ugly. And no, Ariel, that is not a laser weapon. And that's actually a common misnomer about Star Wars weaponry. Those are not lasers.
Yeah, they use some kind of gas.
They're referred to as blasters, but remember, they are using ammunition, and so they have to reload. You actually see in some cases them using shells. So much like standard ammunition that we use today. So we don't know that they're actually projectiles versus plasma or something. But if you've ever fired tracer rounds, they look like that. I don't know if you've ever fired a tracer round out of a gun, but it looks like blaster rounds. And it's actually really cool to fire tracers at night. That was like the coolest thing ever. When I was in the Army and they let you fire tracers out of a machine gun, that is like the coolest thing ever. You think you're in Star Wars. So yeah, there's nothing that says that those are necessarily laser rounds. So the babies come out, and then Mama comes out, and Mama pukes up the kid, and the kid's like, "Hey, Dad, this is so cool. So and he's like, son, you're alive, awesome. But of course, then the dad is an idiot and takes off with his backpack, which of course makes mom grab the kid and fly away. So all the Mandalorians have to go after her. But this is another really cool scene where you see all these Mandalorians flying around the giant pterodactyl megasaurus thing, shooting their webs at it. Because they don't
their
want
version of a dragon, basically,
Yeah. So they don't want to use their blasters because they don't want to kill it. Because if they do, that it would probably kill the kid. So they're trying to somewhat disable it so they can get the kid out of its claw. And I thought that was a really cool scene. And the visuals here are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is
Jurassic Park plus.
Look, for all of the critiquing that anybody might have to throw at especially Obi-Wan, you could be absolutely sure they were bankrolling every single penny of that for this. Because man, this show so far this season has looked spectacular.
Yeah. And yes, Ariel, yes, this is Rodan, I know, but I'm trying to be nice. And so the kid, the monster finally drops the kid. Din catches the kid midair, and then there you go. The crocosaur eats Rodan. So Godzilla eats Rodan basically, and Din drops off the kid, says, "Here's your stupid kid." And then they come back.
And this is what I didn't understand. Why'd they bring the little baby dragons with them? That was weird.
I had to think about that for a second.
Because exactly what Bo-Katan said. She had 3 foundlings that need training because now they have 3 dragons that they can train and ride.
Yeah, because that was what I was about to say, because the Mandalorian lore has them riding all kinds of animals and not just mythosaurs.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be badass to be riding a dragon around.
Yeah, right.
Could you imagine seeing some guy with Mandalorian armor flying at you on a dragon? You got to be wearing your brown pants that day. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, actually, I should send this clip to you Mike, to watch. Did you watch that TikTok short I sent you, Danny? The one where they had Dragula playing to Ahsoka jumping off of all those ships?
I don't think I did.
It's in your Twitter. It's in your DMs on Twitter. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So if you watch that, I'm now my brain is just thinking, imagine that except with also dragons. So, but yeah, anyway, I'll message it over to you at some point.
Of course, they could also just have one heck of a barbecue. I mean, just one of those babies would feed them all for a month.
Yeah, some buffalo wings.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of funny. I just watched it.
So then I'd be like, the armor tells Bo-Katan she did the greatest thing possible, is that she rescued a foundling, and that's why I was saying they said that they're all foundlings. And so that elevates her status among the Mandalorians, but that because a piece of her armor was shredded off, she needed it to be repaired, so to come inside and she would fix it for her. And there's she says, but first, and I love that they lure them out with those giant pieces of steak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, that would work on me.
Super chat.
And SVS Guru with another €5 says, okay, trading them as mounts makes sense, but I would have preferred them to be brought back as dinner. Yeah, me too. I'm thinking, though, if they got steaks like that on Bo-Katan's ship, I want to be a Mandalorian if that's what they're eating. If they got steaks like that to spare as bait. What are they eating regularly?
Oh, right.
They brought them back. NBC. They killed the mommy. Yes. Well, you know, but why didn't they bring? Well, no, they killed. They didn't kill mommy. The Godzilla killed mommy.
Oh, and
Yeah,
this is my
exactly.
cue there. Another super
yeah.
chat from BK Dan.
And so, but thank you, BK Dan. They did they did let Godzilla eat mommy, but they're but think about it. So if they kill one of those babies, those wings alone would feed everybody. Not to mention, I mean, they could make wings for one of their gliders out of the leather from those. But they could also train them to be mounts.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but yeah,
use them as weapons, and then when they're no longer useful, then it's your backup food supply.
So she takes him inside. She asks if she wants another night owl, and she asks if she can get the other pauldron as a mythosaur. And then she actually tells her that she saw a mythosaur, and she says that you get interesting visions when you choose to follow the way.
She's like, no, I saw one.
Yeah, she says she actually saw one. Now, this is an interesting conversation here, and I know this is something you may not know, Danny, but and this is one of the reasons I find the interesting spiritual side of the way they're presenting the Mandalorian Creed, because Christianity in its earliest days was known as following the way. And so I do think that it's really interesting that they're adopting that same name for the Mandalorians. And like they're trying to say that the true Mandalorians are following the way, which is what the original Christians were saying, is that true Christians were following the way, as opposed to false Christians were not following the way.
Yeah, kind of the interesting thing on top of that too is, and I don't know for sure if they're using this as part of the way they're doing the disdain that most Mandalorians have for the children of the Watch, but if it is, then what I'm referring to is the term Christian wasn't even created by Christianity, such as we understand it. It was actually used as a pejorative term. And instead of it being taken as an insult, it was basically embraced, and they said, "Okay, call us whatever you want." So, and if you look at the way that the Children of the Watch behave in this series, whereas you get, Bo-Katan, it's like, those crazy cultists and da, and they got all these names, but the Children of the Way are just like, this is the way, and that's it. They're like, we are tunnel focused on this. We're gonna make this happen.
What do you think? Do you think the armorer believes her that she actually saw a mythosaur? Because she just kind of I felt like it was kind of dismissed.
I'm not sure, because the way that that last moment when Bo-Katan says, no, I saw one.
The last
I was
thing
in the
said was,
mines,
but it was real.
Yeah.
It sounds like Bo-Katan doesn't think that the armorer believes her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the armorer actually believes that she really saw a mythosaur in the waters. But maybe she needs to say, look, you need to come with me. We need to go back and you need to see it with me. Or we need to move the covert to the living waters, because there is a mythosaur, and it would make sense at this point to move the covert there.
Yeah, especially now that they know it's not, a poisoned atmosphere or whatever they're saying.
Yeah. So her closing words were, when you choose to follow the way of the Mandalore, you will see many things.
Right. It was kind of dismissive. You know what I mean?
It was a dismissive, but it was also one of those, to those who do not believe, things will look foolish. To those who do believe, things will all start to make sense.
You will see things. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not real, but it may not be tangible. You know,
Yeah.
like you might see signs in things that are, in circumstance or whatever. But I think she may not think you literally saw a mythosaur as much as you saw the idea of a mythosaur or something like that.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, just to finish it out too. So she goes, but it was real, and then immediately, this is the way.
This is the way.
And it's like, so maybe that was her saying, this is the moment of belief.
Well, it definitely
No,
was for Bo-Katan, because she's completely changed since that happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, just the fact that she didn't take off her helmet on the trip back.
Yeah.
And I mean, she is 100% a changed woman. And I mean, I know that there are a lot of people out there that I've seen on YouTube that are bitching about the fact that the season is as much about Bo-Katan as it is about Din Djarin, but I think that her character arc right now is really interesting. And just because the Din Djarin is the main character doesn't mean that we can't develop the characters around him. And Bo-Katan is an interesting character to bring in, and Katie Sackhoff is a fine actress to bring in with her.
I do wish her posse would have stuck with her from last
Well, we
season.
may see them yet, because I think that this could be a setup for, think about how is her posse going to react to her becoming a follower of the way.
Yeah, and that would be that. I don't know. I think that would be some good conflict to explore.
Right.
You know?
And we may yet see that conflict. That's what I'm saying. Like, depending on, I mean, we may not see it this season. We may see it next season, or we may see it later this season. We don't even know where this season is really going. And we're halfway through it, So, what's going to happen at the end of this season? Who knows?
Right.
Well, and if they're, I mean, stepping back and thinking about this a little bit from the, the producer's perspective, this is a good product or a good plot device to use to launch a lot of other things. And if The Mandalorian still has reasonable viewership, even though for whatever reason people are just not tuning into this season of The Mandalorian by a lot, by the same people, and I know we don't have the real Disney numbers, but by the same people that were tracking this on the previous two seasons, because there are ways to track some of the data. It does appear that the viewership is down significantly from season 2. Why that is very difficult to say. We do have to keep in mind, one thing is that the pandemic was still basically in effect from a rules perspective in most jurisdictions around the world.
Right.
So people were kind of still indoors, cats only kind of thing. So, so that could change things a little bit. And maybe they'll catch up on it afterward, or maybe they're maybe there's enough of the viewership that's starting to realize what we've been kind of grumbling about between this episode or this season of this, as well as the season 3 Star Trek, which is this is getting rough trying to watch some of these shows week to week, and maybe they're just going to take it all in one go.
Right.
So that's, and it's hard to say. I mean, and again, because we're never going to see the real numbers, we're never going to have anything particularly solid to go on. The only real truth is if it gets canceled or not.
Right, because Disney's been putting a lot of stuff on the chopping block, like a lot of Marvel stuff that they said they were going to do is not happening now. Like the Agatha All Along series isn't apparently isn't happening. The
even Secret Wars is on hold too.
Yeah, and then I think they changed Armor Wars from a TV show to a movie. So, I think, yeah, I mean, if we don't see a season 4, we'll know why. But as far as I know, they're currently in production on the.
I didn't hear about that. They changed Armor Wars to a movie.
I think so. Yeah, I have to look that up. But I know that the Ahsoka Tano show is in production still, so that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Let me pull that up. I'm pretty sure Armor.
Yeah, the cast for Ahsoka right now sits as Rosario Dawson back as Ahsoka, Hayden Christensen, I'm assuming, in a bunch of flashback scenes.
Yeah, they changed it to a movie. I just looked it up. So per Digital Fix
wow.
and Collider.
So they don't say what he's up to, but Ray Stevenson is going to be in the Ahsoka series.
Ray Stevenson. Wasn't he the Punisher in that Warzone movie?
I believe so, but one of the big things he did was he was one of the Romans in the 2 seasons of Rome that HBO did.
He was also one of the Brothers 3 from Thor.
Yeah, and he was. Yeah, he was in all kinds of stuff over the years. Oh, that's what. Oh no. I forgot. He did the voice for Gar Saxon, the guy that they left alive in the guy there. Well, they supposedly left him alive, or possibly left him alive, because even though they shot him in the chest in that episode, I know you watched those 2 episodes when they went down to the snowy planet, Danny, from Rebels. That was Gar Saxon.
Oh,
when
so
she was fighting with the lightsabers, maybe he's still alive. And
reprising his animated role.
Enough. Yeah, well, maybe. And I mean, he's old enough, and I mean, he's a huge guy. He's like 6'4" or something like that. So he'd make it awfully imposing, rogue Mandalorian guy to have. So that'd be interesting. But yeah, I mean, to tie it back to issues one way or the other with the Mandalorian. Look, if they use it as a launching platform for other things, I think people just need to be okay with that, because a lot of people were surprisingly really okay with the first season of The Mandalorian, which frankly was like the Quest show.
Right.
Well, you also have a lot of people. When you were talking about the viewership being down, for whatever reason, a lot of people are kind of, I don't know if like boycotting is the right word, but they lost a lot of people over the politics surrounding the what's her name, the UFC chick, Cara Dune actress.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I can't think of her real name right now.
Which I don't understand. Like,
Gina
Carano. There you go. Yeah, and I still I mean, I don't care about an actor, or like if I cared, I wouldn't be able to enjoy like a John Cusack movie, for example. You know what I mean? Because that dude's batshit crazy, but I enjoy his movies. Gross Point Blank is one of my favorite flicks, and Better Off Dead.
Well, I've always said, as far as Hollywood is concerned, if you're going to worry about if you're going to through virtue choose what you're going to watch or not watch, then you cannot watch anything.
Yeah,
because
well, not even just that, but like, I mean, just the fact that she got fired over, was it a tweet or something? I can't even remember.
She said something.
Yeah, it was a poorly thought out tweet.
Yeah, she basically said something on Twitter, vaguely comparing conservatives, the plight of conservatives, to
well, the plight of objectionists to what was going on during the pandemic to the Jews in Europe.
Yes,
which was
in the 1940s.
Which, regardless of how much of an argument you could make for it, Twitter's not the place to try that.
Yeah, that was a bad idea. And the look, I'm not defending or attacking what she said, but I am saying she is an actress in Hollywood. And you say something like that, and that's not a good way to get a job,
or apparently keep one.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's just a fact. Everybody in Hollywood knows that if you're going to say something like that, you're not going to get a job. And so, and by the way, it's not about keeping a job, because at the time she was not employed. And that's something that's vitally important. She did not get fired. She was not currently under contract.
Yeah, and she just wasn't
And-
renewed into anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
okay.
she was not under contract.
I didn't realize that.
And so they didn't bring her on for the next season after she did that.
Okay.
And so, which is totally understandable, because they didn't want a controversial thing on there. And
Yeah, and in a world where everybody seems to be sensitive about everything, even though in most cases it doesn't even make any sense to be,
Right.
you know, this is unfortunately what you get, because I'm sure the publicist departments or the PR departments of some of these companies have probably got some awfully risk averse people, because giant corporations, even though we always like to bag on them for weird crazy decisions they make, they are very risk averse.
Right.
And
They
man,
don't
if stuff
want
goes-
to take chances.
if stuff goes pear-shaped, they start running.
And so, I get that. And it sucks because, yes, I like Cara Dune. I thought she was a fun character.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
And the fact that we're probably never going to see Cara Dune again, I think sucks.
Yeah.
At the same time, does that mean I'm never going to watch The Mandalorian again? Heck no, because I like Din Djarin as well.
Oh, well,
And I
yeah,
like
yeah.
And I
I'm
like
just saying-
Bo-Katan, and I like
I
all
have
the rest
heard-
of the characters,
I have heard some people like, well, since they did her dirty, I'm not going to watch it, which is, whatever.
You'd
I don't know. I
you'd
don't-
have to boycott all the things if you
Right. I like what now. Look, I'll tell you. I watched the Chris Rock special on Netflix. I don't know if you guys.
I haven't got to see it yet. I've been meaning to. I want to
When
watch it with
he-
pretty
Cece.
good.
I thought it's very crass, but which you won't care about, of course, Danny. But it's very crass, but it is really funny at some. And one thing he talked about when he talked about the Will Smith thing was selective virtue. And he says, when you have selective virtue, it's like this. You throw away all your R. Kelly CDs, but you still listen to Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, that
Well, first of all,
you got
that's
to
a little
watch that
different.
show.
That's a little different because
No,
R.
it's not a
Kelly-
little different.
Yeah, it is, because R. Kelly got convicted in a court of law. He had his day in court and he lost. Michael Jackson never lost a court, never got convicted of anything. So
No, but he did get murdered.
Is that what happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get what he's saying there.
With drugs, but it was murder.
But
You
so
think that
he-
doctor did it on purpose?
Well, it was either malfeasance or malice, one of the two.
Yeah.
But you get the idea. It's like people will basically say, "Oh, I'm not going to watch this because that person's in it."
Yeah.
But then they're going to completely ignore the fact that someone 10 times worse is in something they like.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I just
And-
like that goofy thing there with with their Alyssa Milano. I don't like Elon anymore, so I traded in my Tesla for a German car.
Yeah. Yeah, Volkswagen.
And not just a Volkswagen,
You know
not
what's
just any
funny?
German car.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this whole Tesla thing, and Alex from the Salty Nerd, he brings it up a lot because he actually he works in the mining industry, and he's always making jokes about how people with Teslas think they're being all like environmentally friendly, and he's like, nah, dude, like all the stuff I got to do, all the diesel fuel we burn to make it to where we can build your little electric cars. He's like, you're not doing anything.
No,
No.
Well, and even if you were, it's like it boils down to, look, you're not. Don't tell me you're virtue signaling. If you want to get an electric car because you like electric cars, fine. Like I like electric cars because they perform better, and they're lower costs in fuel and maintenance and all that. And so I would get one if I could afford one.
Dude, before the pandemic happened, I had it was kind of like my vision board, and I'd already picked out, like, because you basically you order a Tesla And so I'd gone to the website and I'd already kind of like picked out all the options and everything. And then at the very end, I saved it, and then I saved my cart, but I printed off the car and put that up. And I'd saved about 35 grand because I don't like having car payments. And but with all the features and stuff that I wanted, it was going to be about 60 out the door. And then guess what happened? COVID. And yeah, I don't have that. I don't have savings anymore, period, much less the dream.
Well, I got I got MS, and so all my money's gone. So
yeah,
you know, I'll tell you what,
I did want one. I did want. I still do.
So,
you know, but.
Volkswagen Fahrvergnügen.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'm gonna virtue signal by not buying something by Elon Musk, who she compared to fascists. And then she sits there and says, I'm going to get a Volkswagen, which was literally made by the king of fascism. Yeah. And so it's like, really? Okay.
Yeah, well, hey, so people.
Anywho,
I mean,
this is the final scene of this episode, right? I do believe.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, this is the absolute closeout. Yeah.
So yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we covered everything. I guess we did. So yeah.
But yeah, so Fahrvergnügen, that's how it ends. She says, Fahrvergnügen.
Fucking groovin'.
This is the way.
Schnell. Oh my gosh. So well, I guess let's we even do like final thoughts and a score.
So go ahead. What's your final thoughts and score there, Danny?
It was short. I had some issues, but I liked more than I disliked. So I guess to be fair, I'd say a 6. I give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm basically in the same place, a 6 out of 10. I love really what they're starting to really do with Bo-Katan, but overall the episode for me just kind of, I don't know, there was you know, in one way a lot that went on, but at the same time it didn't feel like a lot went on. It was very weird.
Yeah.
It was better than last week's episode, no question. But
the bar was really low though.
But yeah, for me it's just a 6 at the moment. Now if it turns, again, it's one of those, everything is so conditional, because if they continue to push the storyline with Bo-Katan in a really fun direction, well then in effect it's going to make all of those previous episodes a little bit better, because that's where it all started.
Or at least this one, because I liked your idea. Take these guys back to Mandalore, you know, tame the beast, ride the mythosaur. You know what I mean? That'd be dope. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, imagine Bo-Katan riding the mythosaur with Din and a couple others riding those dinosaurs.
The birds.
Right?
Yeah.
That could be really cool. And Thomas, of course, in a tank. Yes, you can have a tank, Thomas.
Oh, Thomas the tank. How cute.
Yes. So I think you guys are both smoking crack, though. I'm going to give this one. This to me was this was great Star Wars. This had it all for me. This had lightsabers. This had Mandalorians doing Mandalorian stuff to the max. This dialed it up to 11 in a lot of spots. My only complaint was that it was too dang short, and that too dang short did drag it down quite a bit. So I'm going to give it a 7.5.
All right.
But everything that was in the way too short episode, I thought was great. I just wanted more of it.
And maybe that would have fixed it if this episode was as long as last week's.
Oh yeah,
and they were able to flesh out some more.
Episode.
Yeah, then it could have been.
If this was an hour-long episode, I would have been just drooling on the floor.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially like, man, I really hope.
Yes, Ariel, we do know what Dork Knight is.
Hey, not today, man. Not yet. Not yet.
So
Yeah, I can't be making a damn fool out of myself anymore on these streams. So yeah, it's like,
so
that, and I got to take a nap, so I can watch Obi-Wan at midnight. And Mom, you missed it.
Obi-Wan at midnight.
I mean, not
you were gonna
Obi-Wan.
watch
Picard. Sorry.
So you decide you're going to watch Obi-Wan after
No,
all.
Picard.
So
Mom
Mom will be reviewing Obi-Wan, everybody.
no, Picard. Sorry, Picard. I don't know why.
You heard it here. Obi-Wan
Freudian slip.
tomorrow.
So, Mom, I did. I talked about that earlier. I guess while you were,
he cried
at church. Yeah, I actually
cried like a little girl.
I cried at the end when I thought Ben was going to die. So it was good.
Not only did he cry, he cried like a little girl.
No, I didn't cry like a little girl.
That is exactly what you said. You said yourself you cried like a little girl.
Okay, maybe I cried like a little girl. Whatever.
That's okay. I embrace my crying too.
Yeah.
So what did we learn today? We learned that Danny identifies as a little teary girl.
There's your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There's
Sir
Danny.
Stus, I'm really enjoying it too. This I don't know why they keep doing this weird thing where they skip a week. It's really getting on my nerves. So there was a new episode. So anyways, we get 2 more episodes. Next week it's Fly the Friendly Skies.
They
I think
do
is what
it
it's
to
called.
stretch it out. That's it.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, no, I'm really in. There were only 2 episodes of this new season I didn't particularly care for, but I didn't hate them either. A lot of people flat out hated them. So it was, yeah, like Mom said, they're dragging it out.
Yeah, they're trying to keep the mythosaur, the mystery of the mythosaur a mystery.
I just saw Thomas's dear President Biden, my house identifies as being in Ukraine. Please send me a tank.
You better be careful. He might do it.
That would be a shocker in the morning. All of a sudden,
yeah, you got an M1 tank in your driveway.
Yeah,
now you can't pull out.
Do you think that he's going to be found medically unfit or die before his term's up?
What is your thing about him? You just think that
he's got clear signs. I've worked in I've worked at this place called MCDS for like a year, and I've worked with people. You
realize that that just looking at a person from a distance, you can't diagnose him.
No, I know, but I'm talking about like his gait, the way he walks, the goofy shit he says, like the brain farts he has.
Funny. I walk funny.
He's old.
I walk funny. I have MS.
Okay, I look. No, I'm just. I just won't. I'll leave it be.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think that just because he walks funny, he's necessarily incompetent to be president.
I didn't say he was incompetent. I'm talking medically. Like I think he's either got early onset. It seems like he's got early onset dementia or maybe Alzheimer's. He's got some kind of neurological thing going on. I really think he does. I really do. Watch next time. Watch how he walks. Like his shuffle.
So would you vote for your mom? That's what Thomas says. He wants your mom to run.
No, I wouldn't vote for my mom.
Well,
she would get rid of the separation of church and state, and that would ruin my life. I love you, Mom, but not my president.
All of a sudden, there'd be a Blackhawk show up in Danny's front yard. You're coming with me, boy.
The Re-Education Center.
Yeah, right.
Maybe
like that Clockwork Orange scene where I got my eyeballs, like stuck open and just like flashing images.
Yeah. No eye drops. Oh man.
Oh
yeah. All I'll say as an external observer is it definitely doesn't look awesome. I have a parent who's going through Parkinson's, and if this is going on and we don't know about it and people are covering it up, it's not him, it's others. And at this point, it's just unforgivable elder abuse is all I have to say.
Exactly. They did this to Reagan. They did this to Reagan. You guys
I would
remember?
agree that they shouldn't cover it up, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't know that that's the case, and I don't think we should speculate because we don't know.
Fair
No,
enough.
but the sucky part is in the last 125 years of American history, this has happened at least twice already before,
Right.
possibly 3 times. So
Well, so
people,
you got
and it's
Reagan,
because
you got FDR,
Reagan, FDR, and also for sure, Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
So, and I understand it's about protecting the office of the president and not necessarily the president itself or himself, but track records be what they are.
Yeah. Stanley, they came out and admitted after Reagan died that that last year in office he was not there. They've admitted that, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
which is sad. I mean, they should not. I mean, honestly, Bush should have taken over in that last year.
Oh, wow. People are coming up with campaign slogans from, look at this. This is funny. If you want to save the country, then pick up the penny and have good luck.
Nice.
That's a good one.
See, your mom's already going to win. She's got that is an awesome campaign slogan.
I might have to make her a shirt now just for tickles and grins. See, I self-censored there.
Oh dear.
Make her a coffee mug or something. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that we need to stop electing people that are on their deathbed. And that's just my opinion. I think that while I don't think Obama and Clinton were great presidents, I do think they were closer to the right age to be president.
So here's a hot take.
Like Obama, Bush, and Clinton were all in the right age group.
See, this is what happens when Star Wars gives us a 25-minute episode. We have to fill the last part of the show with political talk. So I'm going to say something really unpopular. I thought Romney should have won.
I think Romney should win again.
He's getting old, man. He's getting old, man.
Yeah, he's also kind of burned a lot of bridges. Over
his time, he should have.
It was 2012. Yeah. The funny thing is, a lot of the things that he said when he was campaigning actually kind of ended up playing out.
Yeah,
so it's kind of funny. Yeah, because they mocked him mercilessly over Russia, and now, hi.
Yeah, right.
Actually, what was really funny was I watched season 2 of Clarkson's Farm, and in the very first episode or the second episode, they were talking about fertilizer costs. And for anyone who's watched, if I say Caleb, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But there's a young man from the area where his farm is that helped him run the farm in season 1 and continued working for him afterward, and also was in season 2. And he just looks at the guy, because the guy's like a complete yokel. Like, he just does not know anything outside of his own area. He doesn't know any history. He doesn't know any little pithy things or anything, because he's only 24 and he's completely unexposed to the world. And he goes, they're never going to go to war to this kid, because the kid's like, well, yeah, Putin's like gonna invade or something. And then Clarkson is like, no, it's never going to happen. And then they put a bunch of arrows around him pointing at him in the post edit, because it's like, oh, well, surprise.
Yeah, Ross Perot died in 2019, Stanley. So
yeah,
he was a character.
Yeah. The saddest part about elections in basically every country was an observation made I think it was the 1960 election, where it was Kennedy versus Nixon.
Yep.
Was the minute that everything turned into video.
Oh yeah, and then it was just
upended everything.
Yeah, it was just a popularity.
Now the most charismatic person wins.
Yeah, it basically, the entire process in basically every modern nation, you're voting for class president.
Yeah,
it's basically what it's all kind of devolved down into. So it's kind of sucky, because the same thing happens here and anywhere else. It's like whoever it is you can roll out that has the
Well, I
greatest
mean, you
curb
look at
appeal basically wins.
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, you look at like just in the last several elections, like Clinton beat Bush because Clinton was the guy that you would rather hang out with than Bush, right?
Yeah.
Bush beat Gore, same reason,
Yeah.
and then you have Obama beat
Bush. Or
uh,
no, sorry, not Bush, but beat
Romney.
yeah,
Oh,
frickin' no, Arizona guy.
Yeah.
Maverick.
Yeah. God, why can't I remember his name?
McCain.
McCain.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
he was charismatic. He was the kind of guy that you like said, oh yeah, this is a guy that I would hang out with, where as opposed to grumpy grandpa, and so that the person who wins is the person who is generally the most charismatic, and then you had the battle of like with Trump and Clinton. It was like, well, who's the least repulsive?
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
it's Trump. That's like, that was a tough one.
We need
and
to get
then-
rid of the electoral college system here.
No.
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Do not. As an
Why?
outside observer, do not.
Why?
You will
I'm
have
curious.
you will have two cities running your entire country, because that's what happens in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, Toronto and Montreal are the reason why we have whoever it is that's in Ottawa,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
that
you
will
think about it, if
absolutely
you
it'll
get
be
rid of
New
the
York and
Electoral
LA.
College- Yeah, New York and Los Angeles will determine every election if you got rid of the Electoral College.
Yeah, and when I say those two names, I generally mean both of those states as well, like the preponderance of California.
Well,
plus
California
New York.
is the third largest, economy in the world, right? Isn't that what they're always saying? And it's a state, isn't that?
Right.
Yeah, they always talk about if it was this or that and da 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 da. Aerial
Yeah.
ballet, Vancouver does to a very limited extent, but not nearly as bad as. And this is a serious Canadian inside politics thing. The Laurentian corridor, which basically means from Toronto all the way to Quebec City,
Right.
that's technically that stretch of land basically selects the sitting government in Canada every single time.
Well, we were talking about, and I think this would help solve a lot of American political problems, and at the same time, just make things really interesting. Would be, we need to make the next several states the provinces of Canada and Mexico. So
That would
we
spice it up a lot.
We haven't even pulled the trigger on making Puerto Rico a state.
well, we can do
crying
that
out
too.
loud.
But if we think about this, if we
Like,
made
why
all-
haven't we done that? My lifetime. Why haven't we done that? You know what I mean?
because honestly, the people don't want to be a state. A lot of them, they don't want statehood. But if you think about this, if you made the provinces of Canada and Mexico states, what would that do to the Electoral College?
Well,
And-
maybe it would help Alex become a little more on time because, boy,
Oh yeah, you
you're
getting here right at
coming
the
in as
end.
we're going out.
Yeah. But yeah, it would definitely change things up there. It would definitely fix up some immigration problems.
You would, yeah, actually, that's exactly why it won't happen, because
They won't be able to fight over immigration anymore.
not ICE, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that department in the DHS, they'd all be out of work almost immediately.
Yeah, it would
so
be out of work. They just have to move further south. They'd
all
have a
these,
much
all
smaller
these
border.
departments.
Think about this. It would be much easier to build a fence on Mexico's southern border.
It's a tinier piece of
It's a tiny little border,
It is.
So,
Oh, dear.
so that's doable.
Yeah.
Well, hey, did you guys see the trailer, or not a trailer? I guess they released a clip yesterday of Picard with Geordi, tonight's episode. Did you guys see that clip?
No, I did not.
No, I'm not.
I'm actually thinking
I
about using
saw
that
a
for the thumbnail because
Oh.
the clip they show.
Wait, you're going to make a thumbnail before the episode actually airs?
Well, maybe it depends, because like if I can't get a good enough, I actually like that the last week's thumbnail had something from the episode, And if I get it to you like by 1 a.m. my time, what's the big deal? You know what I mean? So, but or I might do a screen grab, because when you see Geordi, he's like, first thing he says is power down your ship and prepare to be boarded, or something like that. Like, he's mad at Picard, and Picard's like, we came for help. He's like, yeah, no. It's like, it's on like Donkey Kong. He seemed mad in the clip that I saw.
Geordi,
I'm
my
looking
old
for it.
friend. It's nap time.
Right. God, he just, you know, something that really stands out now. I've been watching, you know, I just finished watching those 7 Rolaren episodes from Next Gen. And dude,
How
like,
old
he
is?
he just sounds so different. Like now,
Yeah.
God, just like,
And I'm not sure when he clicked over, like when all of a sudden he just started to age out, because he was in an awful lot of different products.
Here, I put it in the private chat.
I
link
assumed
to the
that
clip.
was acting, though.
Chris just going to see it in the private chat.
I thought that was acting on his part, though, in Logan.
Yeah, I did too. Do you want me to share it with everybody? I just like, you know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why would you not share that with everybody?
All right, cool. This is the link to where you can watch the little clip. It's on ET exclusive. But yeah, man, I can't wait. I got 7 hours. 7 hours to go. Gosh.
But the it's on ET online, huh?
Well, yeah, it's because it's an ET exclusive. That's probably why you can't find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised somebody hasn't just clipped it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I actually am too, but I couldn't find anything on there at all. Commodore LaForge. Oh, that's funny. His actual daughter.
Yeah.
His actual daughter is who beams in on the transporter pad.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that sourpuss face. That's the screen. I just hate that the ET logo is on it real big. You know, I'll have to do some creative cropping if I use this screen grab it. Listen to me very carefully, Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
Power down all of your ship's non-essential systems. He's like, what?
I'm pretty hopeful for tomorrow's episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah. And then, you know, Stashwick, he's always tweeting really funny stuff.
Since the whole thing with Captain, I didn't tell you this about Mike. So not about Mike.
Where'd he go?
Mike about
he's
this.
Not going to do nasty stuff, is he?
Blowing his nose is pretty nasty.
All right. Just making sure.
I saw the tissue. What's his name there? Terry coughed up an idea off of somebody else, and it was Captain Shaw.
Oh, yeah.
Reads criticisms as Captain Shaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be funny, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then reading like Twitter comments and stuff as Captain Shaw.
I know you don't do Twitter, Mike, but I retweeted it if you want to find the exact thing that he's talking about, because it's a funny idea.
Yeah. And then he shows what's his name? The actor shows up in the thread. He's like, "And you have my sword," meme. Immediately she's like, "Yeah, I'm on board. Let's do this."
Yeah.
Oh, that I would pay money to watch that.
Yeah, that would be
awesome.
Gold. Yeah.
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 I mean, just to hear, that I wouldn't mind all the F-bombs and all that he would throw, because that would be hilarious.
Well, he hasn't dropped an F-bomb.
That's true. He just says the S word a lot, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not mind at all. Because it would just be hilarious.
Yeah.
Captain Shaw as Captain Shaw.
Oh yeah, that would be spectacular.
Sounds like you're getting summoned too. So my special lady friend is home now, and I need to give her some love and attention.
Yeah. All right, so tonight we will be watching Picard. So tomorrow we'll be talking about Picard. Any quick predictions about Picard? Oh, I guess I have to grade this one. Did I grade it?
Yeah, you did.
7.5.
7.5.
All right, so any predictions about Picard tonight?
We're gonna see Geordi.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other Black Jedi.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Besides the fact I think we're probably going to see an awful lot of starship porn in this next episode. I don't know what else we're going to get.
I don't know. So this is supposed to be.
They're back near one of the big star bases. That's for sure.
No,
Yeah.
I think they're going back to Daystrom. I think they're going to Daystrom.
No, but it's clear that the adventure in this episode is going to be, they encounter Geordi first and then whatever shenanigans.
Commodore LaForge.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Whatever bank heist that they go on afterward will be after bumping into Geordi.
Well, this is supposed to be kind of like part 2 of Act 2. And then according to the Popcast dudes, and then episode 7 will be the final part of that, and then the last 2 episodes they say are like
that's like basically a 2-part movie.
Yeah, this could have been a trilogy, like a movie trilogy or something. Like I'll pay money. I want to watch all of these episodes like in IMAX on the big screen, type of thing, man. I think that'd be.
Oh, I heard some comment about, was it the last 2 or 3 episodes or something are actually shot in IMAX?
Are they?
I could have sworn somebody made some comment. I was watching. Wow. It was either Brian and Shane or
comment.
Or
here's my
or
prediction:
else,
Bird is going to go off for at least an hour shitting over the episode.
Look,
that's my prediction.
I actually have a very early start for work tomorrow, and then I'll probably take a break after that and watch the episode. But I'll tell you what, after work, I am probably gonna just let a Bird review just flow over me and
get some popcorn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
maybe we should like hold off on the Bird review, and then like after we do our review, like schedule some extra time and watch the Bird review live
at 1.5 times speed or something.
Yeah, double speed or something. Yeah.
And then just like go through it and say how crazy was it? Yeah, just call in 6 as Ariel.
Yeah.
No, you don't understand. He's gonna take over the company. He can't call in sick because he's gonna be taking over the company soon.
That would be hilarious and awesome.
All right, guys. So with that, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. So just remember, you are the salt of the earth. I'm the salty trekker. Danny is an irresponsible fool, but we're working on it. And one of these days, we're gonna get Jason to shave regularly, and Danny. These guys,
I am.
Need to learn how to.
You can. I'll tell you what. You can walk away from this, Danny, knowing that you actually do shave way more regularly than I do, and everybody.
You guys are both looking horrible right now.
Are you kidding? I got this George Michael thing going on.
No. I want both.
That Rob Lowe stubble.
You know what? Picard would be so disappointed in both of you right now. You need to be clean shaven tomorrow.
Maybe I'll make it a point.
Ready for inspection. All right.
All right.
Jeez. Some people.